Hi, y'all. This is Lindsay Ali, and I want to welcome you to our weekly team call. This is November 11th. Our team call is actually every Tuesday night around 7 Central Standard Time. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen here before we get started so that I can just get it going. And I do have to warn you that I work from home and I've got the little ones around me. It's almost impossible, it seems, to get a time where I can record without them around or record while they're asleep, might wake them up. So he is trying to actually talk to you guys right now. Shh, thank you. All right, so you are at Team Anchored Strength and Team Make It's team call. We're small teams, so we have combined forces and we take turns every other week just sharing information that we're researching, that we're learning through reading, personal development, and putting it out there, getting used to the schedule, getting used to presenting. And so I am happy that you're here, and I hope that today this information, as you're listening, will be helpful and useful. I know that it was for me just reading it, so I hope that I can share it well for you. So just I'd like to, a few announcements in case you're listening to this in the current time. Platinum Edge is this weekend, and that is for all Platinum presenters. Not all coaches get to go to this conference, so this is kind of a unique deal and very, very cool that we get to partake in this conference and lots of extra training in the Platinum Edge, or not Platinum Edge, but yes, Platinum Edge, but platinumpresenters.com website. So if you're on my team or Daisy's team, you are included in the Platinum Presenters. So make sure you register on that website. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, then message me and I can help you see if you are a Platinum Presenter or not. Last I heard, I got an email that tickets are still available. And again, this is November 11th. So if you are interested and can make it, they are still available. If you don't know where to go to see what savings you can present to your customers and clients and family and friends when they're ready to get started, get with your sponsoring coach or message me, and we can help point you in the direction where you can find out this information. So right now in November, we have these challenge packs for discounted prices that you can share with your family and friends, customers, clients, future prospects. And so make sure you know where you can go in your back office to find that information, or on social media to get that information too. So tonight, I wanted to talk about sacrifice and how sacrifice is giving up something good for something that could be even better. Sometimes sacrifice, I think, can be a negative thing, when really I think that it's just all about perspective. So I was reading, and I'm just sharing this from what I have read in my time with personal development. So it's nothing that I've come up with myself. I simply am just sharing it, actually from John Maxwell in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And this one is the law of sacrifice. So the first question that I wanted to start with that came out of this chapter is, why does one lead? And this is different for everyone. For a few, you can do it, they do it to survive. Some do it to make money. Many desire to build a business or an organization, whether that's an at-home business or a storefront, and others do it because they want to change the world. And, we could fall into some, any, or all of these categories as we go through and try to become better leaders. He talks of seeds of greatness and sacrifice in this chapter, and he just mentions some of these people: Martin Luther King, Grant Eisenhower, and Condoleezza Rice. He goes into more detail with some of these than others, but it was interesting to just think about it as what they have sacrificed to get where they were. Of course, some with their lives, others with just, just sacrifices that you think, oh, they're a leader, but what they have to sacrifice to get there. I was president of the United States. What did they have to sacrifice to get to that point? It's obviously a lot that we just don't know unless we start researching or start becoming leaders ourselves. So the price, as you become a better leader, a more successful leader, and you raise that law of the lid, which is another chapter in his book, that price gets higher and higher. Again, I mentioned like higher, the highest could be the price of your life for becoming a great leader, a successful leader, and having followers. But of course, that's not the case for everybody. But the price does get stronger and higher as far as what we have to sacrifice in our time to grow. So there's lots of misconceptions and realities to leadership that he talks about in this book and in this chapter. He mentions that sacrifice is the heart of leadership. So I wanted to go through a couple of the misconceptions and realities that he mentioned in this book and just share them with you. Some of the misconceptions, the myths out there, is that when people believe leadership is about position, perks, power, freedom, wealth, and prizes that are waiting at the top, and glamour. Now, I want to pause because I'm reading this. I'm like, okay, I can see how people think that that's all that leadership could be, that they want to be leaderships because they want this list right here. And whereas, especially in our world today with the MLMs and ours and others, there are perks and prizes waiting for us as we climb that ladder of success in our companies. But I think that the point here is that to get there, you have to do a lot of behind the scenes work. And that's what I'm learning to do as I'm growing and learning about how to be a good businesswoman and what I'm supposed to be doing in order to get to the top and to be a leader. And these things may come with that success, but it's not what it's all about, and it shouldn't be what it's about. And if this is what we want, and that's all that we want, then we're not going to be as successful as what we could if we want to do it for the right reasons and go back to the heart of sacrifice and why for wanting to do it. If it's to help people, it's to change the world, we might have better success at that. So, okay, so let's go to the realities. And I have a little squirmer here who's wanting me to get up, so he might cry out in just a minute. But our first reality here that we have that he talks about is what leadership requires. It requires sacrifice. A leader must give up to go up. If we desire to become the best leader that we can be, then we really need to be willing to make sacrifices in order to lead and to lead well. And this is regardless of whatever profession you're in. This goes across the board, he says. And I can believe that. If we talk to any leader in any industry, I'm sure that they can tell us that they have repeatedly made sacrifices. And he mentions this in his book. Again, I'm just sharing what I have read from this chapter. And he mentions this, and sacrifice much that is good to dedicate themselves to what is best is what leaders do. So again, there is just no sacrifice or success without sacrifice. And we just have to remember that. If we want to be successful, we're going to have to give up some things. We're going to have to readjust our priorities. And if we want to keep some things, we've got to change around our schedule. And that's what I'm learning to do right now, is balancing my schedule out and getting things done. And that is the way of the law of sacrifice works. And that's what he says in his book. He explains this is how it works. All right, so reality 2. The heart of leadership is putting others ahead of yourself. It's doing what is best for the team. So you know what? I am a stay-at-home mom. I do what I do with business right now at home. And so it would be best for me to have these calls in the middle of the day or in the morning, according to my schedule. But as my team adds members, they are working. And so that's not the best for my team. So I'm going to have to sacrifice giving up some time at night out of my schedule in order to build and to grow and to help my team. It's not the best schedule for me, but it's the best for my team so that they can get on and they can communicate with me during these calls. So it's sacrifice for the team. And what happens when you take on more responsibility, you start to experience limitations in what you can do. So the more responsibility that we have, the fewer options that we have to do. So we may create our own schedules as work at home mommies in this MLM business, but it's still going to put limitations to us on our schedule. We can't just lay around all day, or we can't just go shopping all day. We've got commitments that we start to line up in our schedule. We've got to keep those in order to keep our business running. Again, something I'm learning too as I'm starting to build and grow and better myself in this area. So here is a chart that he put in the book that just shows you as we increase our leadership, then our responsibility becomes greater than what it used to be. Our rights, he puts it, as you rise in leadership at the bottom, I'm reading, as you rise in leadership, responsibility increases and rights decrease. You know, our freedom, quote unquote freedom, decreases. Freedom as in I want to be a lazy and do nothing but watch movies and TVs all day. We can't do that anymore, you know, and I've learned that a lot. I'm a big TV watcher, and I've had to take that back a lot since I've started this. So, again, this sacrifice is different for all, but we all need to give up something, you know, whether that's our hobbies, our family time changes so that we can accommodate our new schedule. We give up sleep, you know, maybe staying up a little later or getting up earlier to be more productive. And just parts of our personal life have to be sacrificed, changed around a little bit. But the principle stays the same. Leadership equals sacrifice. So reality 3, I'm going to try to get through this really quickly, so don't take up more of your time. And again, I've got a fussy one over here wanting me to get up. So I'm going to try to get him in my lap and see if he will let me do this a little bit longer before I get up and before I stop. Okay, on to reality number 3. I do apologize. You must keep giving up to stay up, is what John Maxwell mentions. Looking back at the things, and he mentioned this too, and so I did it as well. Just looking back at the things that I have been successful at, I think about what I did or what I had to sacrifice. You know, I excelled in volleyball as I grew up, and what I had to do to sacrifice that is I had a mindset of making sure I didn't get in trouble, making sure I did get good grades, making sure I did, you know, study or not go out and party with people that I wasn't into the stuff that they did anyway, but should I have gone, I could have gotten myself in trouble, and that would have taken a volleyball away from me. I was very one-track mind, you know. I had goals in volleyball, and I sacrificed other things so that I could be successful in that. I sacrificed time at home and with friends to play competitively so that I could get better. So I just went back and I thought about things that I was successful in, since he said that in the book, and thought, well, why was I successful, and what did I have to quote-unquote sacrifice to get that? And then apply it to now. This is what I want. What do I need to do to sacrifice to get it? And of course, it's hard because I have 3 little ones under the age of 7. And so it's very difficult, but we can do it. Everybody has their own hurdles that they have to get through. So, he mentions how the problem comes when we start to think that we've earned the right to stop making sacrifices. So you see a little success, and I have gone into this mentality as well. You see a little success, and you've worked really hard, and then you have a break where I don't have to work that hard anymore because it's starting to work for itself. And whereas realize when you get up there, you do not have to work as hard for as much as what you have, because in the beginning they say, you know, you work a lot for a little in the beginning, and then it flips as you get higher up. But we can never stop learning. We can never stop growing in order to stay up there. If leaders have to go up, have to give up to go up, he says, then we have to give up even more to stay up there. He also mentions what gets you to the top may not be what keeps you there. So we need to remember that as well. Some things change, and we might have to change stuff every couple months in order to stay where we want to be. Leadership success requires continual change, constant improvement, and ongoing sacrifice. So he made an analogy in this to an auction. Have you ever been to an auction and been a part of one? He mentions how, you know, at first there are tons of bidders because the price is low. The sacrifice of giving up that money is low. But as the price increases, people decrease because there's only a few really willing to give up the sacrifice, whatever that may be for that item, to make it work. So, and then in the end, there's only one that does it to get that main goal. So I think that a lot of people want leadership and success. But then, you know, when they see what they have to do to get there, it's not really something that they want or can do. And so that changes a lot. And I can totally see that, because at first you think, oh, this is what I have to do to be a leader. Gosh, that's hard. Can I do that? Am I willing to do that? And then you either choose to go after it or you choose to not. So I just thought it was a really good analogy. So a couple of quotes that I just typed out here from the book that I liked and wanted to share is that if you see success, anytime he says that you see success, you can be sure that someone made sacrifices to make it possible. And as a leader, if you sacrifice, even if you don't witness the success, you can be sure that someone in the future will benefit from what you have given. So I know that there are people watching that never comment or like or anything of mine on social media. And I know that because few of them have come to me much, much later and have talked to me about, thank you for posting, or you're doing so well. I always love reading. You're so encouraging. You know, so there are people watching who never say anything to me, even people who are watching that order stuff. And they don't ever tell me. I don't know until I look it up in my back office. So people are always watching, and you could always be helping someone out there that you just may not ever reap the benefits of success from. But gosh, I mean, that just warms my heart to know that I'm helping someone, even though I may not personally know it. He also did a quote from Emerson: "For everything you have missed, you have gained something else. And for everything you gain, you lose something." And then John Maxwell says, life is a series of trades, one thing for another. And I just love that, because it is a trading game. You know, we sacrifice these things to get these other things, and that's awesome, you know, and sometimes that's hard, but I think it's awesome. I also think that sacrifices, like I mentioned in the beginning, can be looked at as negative or positive, and it really is just our perspective on it and how we look at it. You know, are we focusing on that sacrifice, what we're missing, or are we putting our focus on the things that we're doing that we have to do in order to get our goals? Like if we want to have that freedom in finances, then that's my goal. Those sacrifices seem to not feel so negative in my head. It's all about perspective in my mind and in my opinion. So that is all I have for you. I hope that I hope that helps you guys, and I hope that it inspires you in some way or another. This was a really good chapter read for me, and it spoke to me. And honestly, the reason why I didn't even get that far in the book, I still have many chapters between where I stopped and that one, because I lost my place in the book, and I saw that one, and I thought I need to read that, because I was starting to view sacrifice as a negative thing, and it doesn't have to be a negative thing. So, okay, well, that is all. I would love to hear your comments on the matter, or more information about sacrifice, your story even. So share those in the comments if you want to. I'd love to hear them, like I said. And thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we have our team calls every Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. And that information, of course, is always on my Facebook page or my group page if you're one of my coaches. Just let me know if I can help you in any way, even if you're not willing to be a coach or wanting that. If I can be an encouragement to you in any way, please let me know. All right, you guys have a great day, and I will hopefully hear from you in the comments, and hopefully see you on future team calls. Thanks so much again, and y'all have a great day. Bye.